This is DJ Funky Skunk, and I am your MC today as we bring to you Hanging with the Hazes Uncensored. Today we got a special guest talking about car camping, Mr. Alistair Green, all the way from Denton, Texas. Sit back and enjoy the show. We about to rock out and do what we do. Welcome to Hanging with the Hazes Uncensored, exclusively broadcast on YouTube. The dynamics of this show are going to be PG-13 only. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and our Facebook group.
Hi. Welcome to the show. This is Hanging with the Hazes with Crazy Keon. What's going on, family? So as I promised you, I'm bringing you new and interesting stuff. And I got my main man all the way from Texas here. I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself. Go ahead, brother. Tell him who you are.
All right, good evening, everybody. Yeah, my name is Alistair, proud resident of the town of Denton, Texas, originally from Scotland, but been living in Denton for quite some time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now today, we're going to get into something that a lot of people talk about but don't really know about, but I got an expert on that's going to tell you how to camp in your car. Now, most people think that you got to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff to start camping. That's not the case. That is not the case at all. So we're going to talk about roughing it a little bit in the car, having a great time. And please, back, enjoy the show. Make sure that you hit that subscribe and that like button. And we're going to make sure that Alistair gives you his information to catch him on YouTube, Instagram, wherever he might hang out. With that being said, let's go ahead and rock out with the show. Now that we've gotten past all of the introductions and all of that, man, I got to ask you something.
Yes.
How in the world did you end up camping in your car? Like, what brought you to that?
So I've been camping for 20 odd years.
Okay.
It really spawned from hiking. Especially since I moved to the States, I've really enjoyed hiking, the hiking culture, everything about it. So camping, which I enjoyed, that was really a means to doing more hiking. I grew up in the city, so it's not something we did as a family growing up.
I got you.
Maybe we'd go for walks in the country now and again growing up, especially in the summer. But camping was pretty foreign. Like I said, we were born, lived, raised in the city. So it's just kind of morphed through. I've done it all except for big RVs. I've done the tent, I've done the car, I've done the sleeping on the ground, I've slept in the hammock. The teardrop camper, the pop-up camper. We've done it all in the last year or so. We've really gotten into car camping, and it's been fantastic. I don't know if we'll do anything else.
Cool. Now I got to ask you, because like to most people to hear that you're from the city, that's some crazy shit to hear. Oh yeah, we're going to camp in the car. What's the neck of the woods? What's it like? Like if you had to compare it to an American city, what would it be like?
So the city I'm from is the city of Glasgow, which is the largest city in Scotland. 700,000, 800,000 people. It's a university city, mostly. Camping isn't something that we did. Because like I said, we lived, worked, went to school in the city. So it was when I moved here and the outdoors became a little more accessible, just because of where I lived. That's when all of this really started for me.
Got it. Now you say you prefer car camping. What was your experience being like a RV, like a teardrop or something like that? Like, what's the biggest differences?
So the biggest difference we have found is the ease of it. So it's, as you kind of alluded to this earlier on, it's very easy to get caught up in the expensive gadgets and the this and the that, and a lot of them are awesome stuff, right? I'm sure you, me, all of the listeners could go to REI and drop 4 figures if we had no budget, all the cool stuff. Easy, right? Yeah. But there's something about, we try to go often, like especially in the spring and the fall here in Texas. Okay. I can decide to go down and be ready in 15 minutes. And that's the beauty of it for me. Everything's packed up. My car is ready to roll. I need my coffee and my food. That's it. It's the only thing I need to pack every time. So it's the ease of it. And the easier it is, the more I can just relax while I'm there. I'm not worried about, is this level? Is that level? Did we bring this jack? Did we bring...
Okay. So the craziness is just gone. Like most people, when they talk about car camping, the most they do is the backseat, hokey pokey. That's about it.
That's it. Right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you like the ease of it. Just, hey, let's get up and let's go. And I'm sure there's an adrenaline rush with like you not knowing what's next.
Exactly. So, I mean, my family dynamic is there's my wife and I, and then our kids are now older teenagers, and they're fleeing the nest, flying away from the nest. But my wife has a minivan, so if we need to carry 2, 3, 4 people, that's what we're in. My car, I've got a 2009 Ford Explorer, and it's only me or maybe me and my wife in it 99% of the time. So I leave the back seats completely flat, which is 6.5 feet in the back, pretty much completely flat. So like I said, for 6 or 7 months out of the year, everything is just set up. Like I don't even bother taking it down. So again, it's just the ease of it.
Now, you look like a pretty hefty guy. You can handle yourself. So you're out and about. How do you feel about your safety? Because I know that's a lot of people's concern about camping in general. But being in a car, what do you do to make sure that your family is safe, that you're good?
So it's a tricky situation, right? Because sometimes I'm in the very, very privileged position. I recognize that I'm just over 6 feet. I'm a bigger, let's be real here. I'm a white guy. There's certain things that I don't have to deal with, right?
Right.
That's just the reality of life. And I don't like to mess around by tiptoeing around it too much.
Yeah, right.
So that's just the way it is. I've got a kind of privileged position in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean, I've thought about that. There's a couple of situations that I've come across, though. I have not come across anyone that's crazy. I mean, a couple of loose cannons, a couple of people that I wouldn't really like to hang around with, but they've been harmless.
Everybody's packing in Texas, right?
Right, and this is it. You don't want to cross you don't want to cross people too much. But when was it? About 2-3 years ago, I hiked the Lone Star Trail, which is the longest footpath in Texas. It's 97 miles, and just tent camped along the way. So it was a concern because the path crosses a lot of hunting grounds and hunting trails, and and apparently a lot of the hunters don't really like hikers because they feel they're infringing on their area, all this kind of stuff. So I was hiking right on the edge of hunting season, so I was hoping not to encounter anyone. And to be honest, the only thing I came across that gave me a little bit of little nervous was some wild pigs. And I kind of couldn't, I knew where they were. I could see stuff rustling around and you could hear them, but I didn't really get a sight of them. So that was really the thing that got me. But I always carry a knife, and this is going to sound super tame, but it was kind of a real situation. Just 2 weeks ago, I was camping. It's usually me, my wife, and our best friends. The four of us go a lot. And there's campers every and somebody and that thing was big and looked fierce, like it was ready to eat something. And I stood up and just kind of stood there because again, I just thought if I kind of imposed myself, and it snarled and at this and at that, and the owner snarled and at this and at that, and the owner they made a mistake. They allowed their dog to get away, but they called them right back, and the dog ran back. But it was a good little reminder to me that even in places that are pretty safe, you're not exactly in the wilderness, but have that stick handy. Big stick handy, because I wasn't hiking, so I didn't have my hiking poles. But it was a friendly, just a little nudge, something on my shoulder. It was like, all right, don't get too complacent.
I can only imagine.
I've hiked up Guadalupe Peak, which is the highest mountain in Texas. It's pretty much in New Mexico. It's all the way over there. And I overnight hiked it because I'd been told that if you can, the sunrise from the top is like nothing you've ever seen. I'll throw it out there. It's one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. But there's mountain lions and all sorts climbing up there. So again, I had a knife. I had the biggest baddest flashlight or helmet, the sort of miner's thing on my head, like you can see me from the moon. I truly believe. because I was like, I'm going to make sure I had extra batteries and a big stick, should this mountain lion come at me, I thought I would have a chance with this big ass stick, but
right,
probably not. Probably not.
Like, you got a shot. Yeah.
Right, give it a shot. So that's it. I mean, I've been pretty lucky. You don't want to get too much into the whole people packing and carrying guns and things. Right. I just know if I was in that situation, I probably wouldn't be able to use it in the timely manner. It was probably I wouldn't feel. I don't want to carry it when I'm out hiking and camping. I've got my knife. I've got my stick. I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. I had a guy tell me on the show one time, if a bear comes down, I'll pull out my 357. And I'm thinking to myself, are you trying to piss the bear off or
what? Right. And I've got nothing against anyone carrying it. Nothing against it. I just know that in that situation, I'm not going to do what you're supposed to do.
No. I'm going to lay there and cry and hope that
right. I'll wave my little stick in front of my tears. Absolutely.
That's about the best that you can do. So you've really never had to like one-on-one go against any wildlife or anything like that. So you've been comfortable there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all pretty tame stuff. Some big snakes, now and again, but again, just whack the stick off the ground.
Yeah. So not that I have to remind you.
Right.
But you said snakes, and a lot of my listeners are black. We don't do snakes.
Right. Oh, yeah.
What kind of snakes we talking about?
So we'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
I'll remind you that we'll take the melanin out of the equation. I'm from Scotland. We have grass snakes, and that's it. So I don't do snakes either.
Okay. All right.
They terrify me. Like they really do. So I'm that guy, 10 feet away, trying to just prod the ground to get it to move. I don't want anything to do with it. I held my first snake. I'm 43 years old. I held one a couple of months ago for the first time, and it was in a controlled nature center. I'm a teacher, so we took a field trip there, and all the kids were holding it, and I was like, well, I got to. You have to, There's parents taking pictures. I'm like, all right. And
you've never heard the end of it from them kids. They're right.
I'd rather get bitten by the snake than live with that ridicule,
Yeah.
So held on to the snake. It's 2 or 3 feet long, and I'm like, I'm good now. I'm good. You can have that back.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, but we'll get into the snake thing in a bit because I've got a couple of thoughts on that. I'll save them for you later.
Okay, no problem. Now, I got a quick question. So when you're out and about and you're, up in the mountains and things like that, how do you stay in touch with the world? Like, now, we have a 40-foot motorhome. So we got the internet thing happening. All that. How do you stay in touch with the world when you're that far out in off the grid, no man's land?
So I found that I tend to over-prepare for these things. I've kind of scaled back a little bit. It's easier and easier. I swear, every iPhone update, every this, every that, it seems to somehow become easier and easier. My main concern is always if I'm going by myself. So my wife is awesome. She knows that once or twice a year, I'm probably going to take off for a week and do a multi-day hiking trip.
Right.
I did part of the Appalachian Trail last year, did the Lone Star Trail before. I went home back to Scotland, and she and I actually did a thing called the West Highland Way, which is a 100-mile hiking trip. But if I'm without her, as long as she knows and my kids know where I am, I've never been in the situation, maybe I've just not been remote enough, where I haven't got a signal at some point over the next couple of days, or, over a day or two,
I got you.
Now, I will say that, so the Appalachian Trail, I did the New Jersey section last October. My in-laws are up there, so I went and visited them and then hiked 100 miles or so. But it was my first time to try this new thing. I think it might be on all cell phone providers. It might not be, but on AT&T, if you've got no bars, no service, if you can get a clear shot of the sky, it will tell you where there's a satellite, and you can point your phone at the satellite and it will lock on, and you can send just a text message back. That's it. No, you're not Facebooking, you're not YouTubing, you're not sending pictures. But it's a really cool update. So it's kind of gotten rid of the, the Garmin things people would strap on their backpacks, Skylink or something, whatever they're called.
Right.
It's kind of now got it built in with a software update. I know it's on AT&T, it might be on others, but you spin it and it will show you on the screen. All right, you're almost at a satellite. All right, keep it here. You're locked in, and it will lock in for a couple. So you can get a text message out. Hey, I'm fine. I'm safe. The bears didn't get me. No snakes in sight. Life is good. So that's been a game changer for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, I know it's hard to like drag like a T-Mobile box or an AT&T box is what I'm using here. I know that's hard to drag out there, and I wasn't sure if Starlink was available to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like AT&T's version of Starlink is what it seems. I forget what it's called, but to be fair, it worked really well. Like probably 90% of the time I tried to lock onto a satellite, it did it. And a text message went out, and then text my wife, everything's good. I'll text you tonight. Hopefully I'll have signal. Got one back. At that point, I'm good. Right. Plug in my audiobook, my music, and just keep on jiving down the trail.
Yeah, I took my kids down to a little plot called Belle Isle State Park in Virginia, if anybody ever gets down there. So the kids and I get down there, and, I'm promising we're going to have a great time. And the moment that we pull in, they went to that cell phone, and it was nothing.
Right.
And I was like, I got them. I finally got them off the grid.
You figured it out.
And they hated me for 24 hours.
Right. I tried to let the kids know. Yeah, just download a couple of things if you need it. But other than that, there's no tell. You may not have a signal.
Right. And then at that point, you're just, you're out.
So the way I see it, I've got two fears.
Okay.
I was thinking about this. We had some normal stuff, but nothing really. But I have a healthy fear of snakes. This is what I was going to get to. And the thing is, like I said, I didn't grow up with snakes. I mean, anywhere in the country, way out in the Highlands of Scotland, you can get little grass snakes that are harmless and don't do anything. That's it. It's not part of the equation. It's not something you think about. That's it. So moving to Texas, especially my first couple of summers, we had to go out on the trail or on my bike because it was hot. And there's these things like bits of rope lying across the trail, sunning themselves. And it's terrifying, It's like, it's a huge fear of the unknown. Plus, I'm very aware if I do know, you're still going to be scared. It's kind of twofold. Much. Yeah. So I don't do them. Like I've got no interest. And I think the fear part is I need to learn about them. Because I've got no idea really what a poisonous snake, you hear all that red on yellow kills a fell, all that stuff. I don't know what's true and what's not. But I've kind of got the fear of finding out, but I think I need to do it,
Yeah, so where we are in sort of Western Maryland, we have our fair share of snakes of various kind. Most of them keep down our rodent population, so we cool with them being here. At least I am. We do have some venomous stuff. We got timber rattlesnakes. We got a few copperheads out there, and they're relatively identifiable. If you see a tail going up doing like this, that's pretty much got teeth that you don't want to deal with. Or if you see something on the ground that has little Hershey kisses across the back, that's probably a copperhead. Just let them be. And that's usually what I try to tell my kids. We've had to move a couple from around the campsite, in the last couple of years, but nothing major like that. But most people, man, as soon as they start hearing, rustling in the grass and it looks like it's moving and it's not a stick, they're out of there.
That's it. I'm done. I don't need to find out. I'd rather not know. I'm good. I might be a big guy, but that would make me move. I'm telling you now, that's it. Yeah. But that's one of the two fears. The other one, it's a weird, it's not like getting lost. Like I've gotten lost on trails, but I've got a little story I thought I'd tell you.
Okay.
And this ties into a fear, guns in Texas, the whole thing. We're covering all the bases with it.
Right.
So 2 years ago, I did the Lone Star Trail, like I said, and I was hiking through, and there was a prescribed burn. And I waited, and I was like, should I go around it? What do I do? It'd obviously been done. There was nobody around. A guy came through the other way, and he said, it's actually fine. The signs are still up. Nothing's burning. You're fine. Right. So, all right, no big deal. But, of course, he was coming this way. So I went this way, and there was no signs at all. And I ended up in the middle of the forest. Stuff is smoldering.
Wow.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I can barely get signal on my phone. I'm kind of running a little low on water.
Right.
I've got a Sawyer filter, but the water I found was muddy.
Right.
And I started to get that kind of panicky feeling, like because I didn't know what Plan B was going to be.
Okay.
At this point, because I'd lost the trail. At this point, I'd lost the trail. Hadn't seen anyone in hours. I'm in the middle of what's called the Sam Houston Forest, which is it's about 100 miles north of Houston. What do you do at this point?
Right.
So I managed to get a signal on my phone and just saw that there was a county road through the forest. So I walked 300 or 400 yards just straight through the forest and get to this county road. And at least that's a starting point, you know.
Right.
Figure my way to the main road. So I cut my legs all to shit. I mean, it was horrible. Go through that. Get out to the main road. I mean, all kinds of thorns and thickets. And things. I get to that county road, really. And I just sit down for a minute. And I'm like, all right, let's regather my thoughts here.
Right.
I know that I'm going to go this way. It's a couple of miles. And then it looks like a busier road.
Right.
But this is just a dirt road. So I'm sitting there. And this car starts driving down the county road. I'm like, oh, this could go one of two ways. And again, I've got my hiking sticks and not much else. But it was a deliverance kind of moment.
Okay.
And then I noticed that it's a sheriff.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
We're getting somewhere.
But I'm still kind of in my ignorant Scottish brain. I kind of stand up and wave at them. And they hop out, guns over the door, and they're like, hands where we can see him, put your bag down, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? So, of course, I do that. And they come over and they're like, what are you doing out here? Long story short, they didn't realize there was a hiking trail just through the woods. That was the first thing. And they knew it wasn't quite hunting season. So they're like, we don't see anybody here. And they kind of calmed down and they were like, what's your plan? And I'm like, well, I'm going to try and get to this campsite. I'm going to have to go up to the road because of this barn and this, that, and the other. And they said, we're going to take you. We're sorry. I hope you can understand that we were driving down in this road in the middle of nowhere. And here comes this big guy kind of standing in the middle of the road. We had to. No, I mean, I'm still kind of pissed off. I'm still kind of angry. But you're offering to let me hop in the back of the SUV,
right,
and take me to the campsite and make sure, do you need water? Do you need to go to the store? But it was funny because I said, I don't need anything. The campsite would be, thank you.
Right.
And they said, well, here's the deal. We can take you, but we need to sit here first because there's been a rash of travel trailers being stolen in the area. And we've just found out where they've been hiding them in the woods. And there's a couple of tow trucks coming to get them.
You gotta be kidding me.
And then I'm like, what? He's like, we just need to sit here and witness the tow truck taking them away. That's it. There's nobody around. It was hidden behind trees on this empty lot. That was it. So, I mean, you couldn't write this stuff, So
somebody was actually stealing travel trailers and sticking them in the middle of the woods.
In the middle of the woods outside of Huntsville, Texas, which is it's a big prison down there. So they're playing a fast and loose with this because it's
I guess
not
they were trying to go.
jail. Right. And we saw them take 3 or 4 away, and he was like, all right, that's it. We're done. We'll take you to the campsite. And they dropped me off at the main door, and they were really, really nice in the end. So I choose to just focus on that part of it rather than
the fact that
over the door.
Guns in my face.
yeah. I didn't need that, So that put a bit of the fear in me. I was like, all right, try to make sure I never get in that situation again. Because you don't know who you're going to stumble across. So, like I said, I've done a few long, 100-mile hikes since then. But that's in the back of my mind now that, it was okay. And I don't think I was ever in any real danger. But I also got a little bit lucky in the end. I got a little bit of luck. So that's not always going to happen.
I got to be honest with you. You take the cake. Yeah. I've never had a situation like that happen. We've gotten turned around before. I think I've had to back this up in a state park where it was just tight, but people came out and helped. But nothing like the sheriff coming like that. Like you handled that very well. I would have been livid.
Right. And I think it was just afterwards, in the moment you can just be caught up in it. And afterwards I was like, man, they shouldn't have done that. But on the other hand, I kept trying to see the good in people. So I was like, well, maybe, they're pulling these trailers away and maybe they didn't know I didn't have something to do with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, we are in rural Texas at this point. And here comes this guy walking towards the police officers with a big backpack. They don't know. They didn't know. So,
you hit the nail on the head. You try to see the good in everybody. And there's learning lessons in everything. And like you said, now
right.
Be careful hiking through the woods and
absolutely
trailers and stick there.
You never know what's lurking around the corner. It was something else. That was it. Yeah, it was a crazy. I met several. It's not a busy trail. They estimate a couple of hundred people a year, maybe end to end. But I met several.
Why they can have a little, okay.
Yeah, they didn't even know it was there. It's truly like only hikers really know this hiking trail is there.
And I think that's the scary part. You're the sheriff and you don't know it's there.
Right. I mean, so I kind of showed him the map, and I was like, "Look, it's right. It's on Google Maps. Here's a paper map." But it was kind of awesome. Again, I'm going off tangent a bit, but there was quite a few people in the area who had, Texas isn't really known for hiking. So those people who'd gone to the Appalachian Trail, they'd gone to the CDT, the PCT out west, but they lived in the area. So it was weird. There was quite a reasonable abundance of trail angels. Like we found all kinds of water caches and people saying, we'll come pick you up, deliver you where you want. And all we ask is, if you can pay for gas, $5, $10, put it here. But if not, we're doing this simply for the love of hiking and spreading some joy. Like, don't worry about it. So there was a weird kind of, in the middle of Texas, and there was still this hiking community,
Right.
Like-minded people and some people who couldn't hike because, maybe they had an injury or their age or their job. So this is their way of connecting with the outdoors community.
Got it.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Now, what is like the most interesting place in the States that you've camped?
Oh, that's a good one. So I'm very fortunate. One of the things I love about this country is that it's a bit stereotypical, but the great American road trip. I mean, you obviously you own an RV, you get it. I've been to, I think, 44 of the lower 48. In terms of camping, the Delaware Water Gap. I'm kind of near your way, kind of Pennsylvania, New Jersey border.
It's about it's not even 200 miles northeast of me. Yeah, not far at all.
Okay, so I've camped up there a bit. Absolutely love it. And it's one of these things. It's partially the scenery and the this and the that, and that's stunning and unbelievable. But it's the people I met who were through hiking the AT, immersing myself in that environment. And it's not just hikers. Like I said, I'm kind of going off on a hiking tangent.
No, you're good. You're good.
But it's campers too. It's people who just want a weekend of that, a little bit of the flavor of that outdoors. So I think for me, it's always a mix of beautiful scenery and the people you meet, because the people really make it. So I think if I had to choose one place, it would be the PA, New Jersey border, Delaware Water Gap area.
Okay. Now, notice that your IG name has to do with education and the outdoors. Like, what do you want to tell the people as far as those who want to get into camping? Like, what would be the best piece of advice you could give them?
That there's resources out there for everybody. So I've been a teacher in various capacities in elementary schools for over a decade. Okay. I'm not trying to sound like I'm tooting my own horn here. I've got a master's degree in education. I'm doing a PhD. I'm an adjunct professor at the local university. I've got lots of things going on. But when I peel back the layers of my career, what I want my trajectory to be, it's getting people who don't think the outdoors is for them into the outdoors. And it really stems from teaching 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And what we do is in different schools I've worked in, we take kids to science camp. That's a lot, something we do every year. And you can take the most hardened, angry kids with huge guards up, because that's how they have to live their life. These kids have opened my eyes to a lot of things. I like to tell the story, and I hope this comes across the way that it's meant to. I had a group of 5th grade girls who were getting into fights a lot sit down with me, and they said, "Mr. Green, you don't get it. You don't have black parents." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Ooh. Talk to me, because I could react one of two ways. I could say, I could kind of get defensive myself.
Yeah, and be offended as hell. Right?
Be offended. I was like, okay, what do you mean by that? Talk to me. What do you mean? And the long story short was, they said, we live above each other, below each other. We live in crappy apartments that are falling apart. We have been told from the day we could walk to defend our apartment, to defend our territory. You defend your family, you defend your this, you defend your that. So they were like, we've got two choices at school. If somebody disrespects us, we can walk away and we get praised at school and we get whooped at home. Or we can fight and defend our family, and we get punished at school and we get praised at home. They're like, what would you choose? And I go home and my brain is just wow, And
that's wow.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Thank you for being vulnerable with me here, because their perception, of course, at 7, 8, 9 years old is that their world is very narrow. They don't travel. They don't go on vacation. They just see. And again, I'm using their language here, so I hope this comes across as intended.
No, man, this is say it how you want to say it. We're good.
Okay, good. They see the apartments are full of people of color, and the white people live in the houses half a mile down the road. That's their reality. Whether it's true or not doesn't really matter, because that's what they see. So that's what me as an educator I've got to work with here. So we take these kids to science camp. It's about an hour and a half's drive west of where we are, in the middle of nowhere. And it's almost, and obviously it's not literal, but it's as close to literally seeing things just shed away as it can be without actually being real. These kids who are hard as nails are just playing with sticks and leaves and chasing each other around, and you hear them laugh, and he's like, you don't see them laugh.
They're being kids.
They're being kids, and all it is being released from that environment, that pressure, that more urban environment. They can just they're looking at sticks and having fun, and it's like, man, that was life-changing for me. You see this different side, this softer side of who they really are, when they don't have all the weights and the pressures that they shouldn't have as kids. So that's my thing. Yeah, I'm in education. I'm a teacher, but I love the outdoors, not just because I like being in the outdoors. It's because I've seen the impact that simplicity of being outdoors can have on these kids.
Right.
So we have state parks up the road from us. At 10, 15 miles, we have 2 nice state parks.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm trying to do everything I can to encourage these kids who may not have ever been there. Just go up there. $7 for your carload, however many people are in your car.
Right.
I can get you a pass if you need it. If $7 is nothing to some people, it's a lot to others. I get it. I'll get you a pass just to go out for the day, because the outdoors are for everybody.
Right.
And it warms my heart when I see people of different cultures, different backgrounds, up there at the campsites, because that's what it's really all about. It's a great leveler. Everyone's up there just to be in nature, enjoy each other, sit around a campfire, and that's it. That's what I want for these kids. And it's quite nice at 43 years old to I figured this out, a little while ago. This is what I want to do with my life, and that's my North Star. It may be teaching other teachers in college. It may be doing other things in K-12 public schools.
Yeah.
My North Star is helping these kids who are in these urban environments realize there is another world out there, and they belong there just as much as everyone else.
Yeah, man. And listen, hats off to you. Listen, you would be amazed at how many of these kids just have no clue that there's a whole world just down the street. Baltimore City is literally 41 minutes away from mountains.
That's incredible.
Children never knew that they were there. They don't know.
Yeah, they just don't know. And I feel, and maybe it's different there, maybe it's the same, but so many of these kids, even if they know in theory, they don't know that these mountains belong to them too. And they're there for them too.
Right.
And just because, maybe they didn't grow up in a place, none of that, they're equally theirs. And I want them to have that ownership of it too.
Yeah.
Because how lucky are we to have these mountains, state parks, lakes, even just city parks, and it's something I feel very, very passionate about.
I hear it. And, I'm definitely going to have you back on again, because this is a subject that seems to be taboo in the States. They don't talk about it. They don't deal with it. And it's very difficult to go on the YouTube and Facebooks of the world and find this type of information that can be shared. With that being said, how do the people get in touch with you on IG and Facebook?
All right. So Facebook, you can certainly look up my name, Alistair Green. Alistair's a little tricky to spell. So but maybe you'll be able to find me. The main place that I try to put all of this information is on Instagram. The Outdoorsy Educator is where you can find me there. I have a website, theoutdoorssyeducator.com. But, really social media is the way forward these days. So I have a TikTok account. I have a YouTube account. All under the Outdoorsy Educator. I'm really going to try and get some long form videos up on YouTube, but Instagram is my kind of bread and butter.
And I'm going to put links to all of that in this. So make sure you look down in the description section. I will have all of his information there. And before you go, is there anything else you want to share with the people, or inspiration for people that are looking to change their life and do something different as far as camping or the outdoors?
Yeah, I'll just throw it there that with car camping, like I said, I was fortunate enough to have a car that fits my wife and I. Now, granted, it's an old car, but it doesn't matter. The most expensive thing we bought was $200, and that was a big foam mattress that fit in the back of the car. That's the most expensive thing I bought. We use sheets from our house. We use pillows from our house. I've probably really only spent $100 on things I need. That's it. I make my meals at home. I take them in a disposable pan, a $5 thing of charcoal. That's my camping meal done. Okay. It's great to look at all these fancy things and this and that. And I love it. Believe me, I could be a gearhead if my wife and I are both educators. We don't have a big disposable income. I could, if I had that kind of cam all over it, I would throw my morals to the wind and start buying all that'd be a retail whore. I'd buy all that stuff. Piled out all the lanterns, all of it. But actually, none of it improves my experience, really. It's being with my friends. It's being with the people that I love. And we started taking friends out recently who had done a little camping, but not much. And the bond we have just sitting around a fireplace, like we look forward to that, and that's it. So just get outdoors. I know here in Texas has its own issues like everywhere else, politically and the climate. It does state parks well. I got to give the state parks of Texas, they're always clean, they're always this. And I'm sure most states are the same. Book a site, throw a blanket and a mattress in the back of the car, bring a board game, bring some lights. I promise you're going to have the time of your life. You don't need all the stuff. You just need people you love around you, people who you want to chill out with. That's it. You'll go from there.
That is what I want to hear. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you to do it one more time. Say your first name one more time.
All right. So it's Alistair. But I will throw this out there. When I moved to the States, this was tricky, right? Alistair. Oh, how do you spell it? So I started going by Al Green, which now gets everybody going.
You're right.
And now all I hear is, you know all the stuff. So I often go by Al Green, and I love it because you can tell the people that have a little flavor in their life because the fingers start snapping. Yeah. And then there's people who are standing there going, what the hell's going on? Well, these guys know. They get it. So
Al, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. It's been a heck of a time. And for those who out there, like I said, I'll put all his information in the description. Awesome. Make sure you check him out. This is another episode of Hanging with the Hazes Uncensored, where we talk real. We say what we mean, and most importantly, we mean what we say. If there's anything that you take from this episode, reach one, teach one, because that is how we get it done. Thank you again so much, my friend. It's been a pleasure. We're going to go ahead and rock out as we usually do. Y'all know where to find me. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you hang out with us because we got some good stuff coming. Promise to have him back again. Say how to do, my friend.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. And we out of here. Funky Skunk, take it away.
Be sure to join us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and you can always catch us on Facebook and YouTube. Hanging with the Hazes.